Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the newest concealer launch from Fenty Beauty. These are her We're Even Hydrating Concealers. They retail for $30 US and you can find them in 50 different shades. I wasn't surprised by that, not at all. Not with this brand at least. Now I have 3 of the shades, all of which I will be swatching for you, just in case you used me as a reference. Now the details for this concealer state that it is a 12-hour wear concealer that is going to provide medium hydrating coverage. So medium coverage, not full. Now the formula has a skin-like finish that is going to melt into the skin while hydrating, visibly reducing dark circles, brightening up the under eye area, as well as reducing the under eye puffiness that we all have from time to time. And it's supposed to do that for up to 12 hours. It also states the website also states that it is meant to resist creasing, fading, sweating, and humidity. It won't settle into fine lines or accentuate skin texture. So those are some high claims, okay? Plus, it's transfer and waterproof. We'll see about all of that. Now, per usual with my concealer reviews, I do like to review concealers with and without a color corrector underneath them. So for today, I'm using my Sigma Spectrum Color Correcting Duo in the shade Medium Dark, and I'm gonna be applying the color corrector underneath the right side. The left side is going to stay untouched, and that'll help me better determine how much coverage this concealer provides, whether or not you need to wear it with a corrector, you know, if you have dark circles like I do, or if you can get away without having to use a corrector. I love it when I find concealers that I don't necessarily have to pair with correctors, because the less that I put underneath the eye, the better, especially now that I'm, getting a little older here. Before we get going, let's start off with swatches. Holy cow, this is a very pigmented formula. That was just one swipe, okay? So that shade there is 190 Warm. The second one is 210 Warm. And the third one is 225 Neutral. So here are the swatches up close. Once again, this one is 225 Neutral, 210 Warm, and 190 Warm. I think I'm gonna go with 210 Warm for today's video. So let's get started. I don't have anything on the face right now other than my morning moisturizer. I'm gonna start off with the color corrector over on the right side. And I've been applying it with a brush lately. I usually use my fingers, but I've been doing a brush. And I've been saying this for a while, but look how far I've gotten. I've gotten really, really far into the pan with this corrector. So just applying a little bit of this over here to help brighten up the under eye area before going in with the concealer. So there is the corrector, just one nice light layer. I'm gonna apply foundation to the entire face, of course, skipping the under eye area, and I will be right back to conceal. All right, back, foundation is done. Let's get into concealing. So again, using 210W, I'm gonna start right here. And since this is a hydrating formula, I'm gonna apply it underneath both eye areas. I'm not really sure if you can build this up. Let me look that up. Okay, so this is a buildable formula. So it is a buildable medium coverage formula. Great. Now to blend this out, I also have the Lil Precision Makeup Sponge Duo. So you get 2 of these tiny little sponges within this little kit. You get this one that's more like egg shaped, but it does have like flat edges, which would be really nice for like contouring like nose or just any kind of flat areas, maybe like out here. And then you have the pointed dome for the inner corner. And you also get this guy right here, which has kind of like this like fuzzy bottom and a spongy top. Again, flat on one side for larger areas. You use them damp for buildable coverage, or you can use them dry for full coverage. So I'm gonna use my little sponge here. I'm gonna use it dry to try to get full coverage right off the bat. And hopefully we don't have to build it up at that point, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and get started with the right side. So I do have a little dry patch. I don't know if you guys can see it. I definitely can see it. It's right there. And I think this shade might be a little too light for me because you can see that I have like this beautiful gray cast underneath the eyes. But let's see what it looks like once I build it up. But before we do that, let's go ahead and blend out the left side, which is looking a lot like the right. Okay, so now that we have one layer down, they look pretty identical as far as coverage. Let's go ahead and add a little bit more to see if we can get rid of that gray cast under the eye. So instead of the sponge, I'm gonna use my trusty little powder puff here. Blend out the second layer. Hopefully it keeps it more in place. Oh yeah. Second layer looks so much better, girl. Yes. Oh my goodness. It is blending out really nicely with this. I kind of prefer it over the sponge, to be quite honest. Look how much it's brightening the under eye area. And unlike the first layer, the second layer doesn't look too off. It doesn't look excessively gray. Now let's go ahead and do the same over on the left side. Okay, so I know it looks really, really bright right now. I think so too. But I'm hoping that once I apply everything else to the face, that it's going to like tone down and actually look really good. As far as how it's blending out, I'd say it's blending out like a dream. It is blending out really, really well. And you know what? Maybe because I am blending it out. So maybe I should give it a little bit of time because I was going to say, oh, look, it's not settling into my fine lines at all, which is very, very surprising. I think that it is I've gotten to the point where I've become very critical, very cynical, okay? And so every single time that I see a concealer being described as like creaseless or like it won't settle into your fine lines, I'm like, come on, yes it will, like everything will, and that's okay. Anything and everything when used in excess, especially underneath the eyes, is going to settle, okay? It's gonna settle. We all have texture, we all have fine lines, it's gonna settle. We don't all have like this flawless and very like smooth under eye area, right? It doesn't matter how young or old you are, like you just don't have that. That's not realistic. But I think with this one, like, no, I spoke too soon. Look, it is settling a little bit over here. And it's settling a little bit over here as well. Just a tiny bit, tiny, tiny bit. Not a big deal at all. I am thinking that I might have to set this very, very, very lightly, okay? So let me get the powder for that. So I'm gonna get my Trippin' Smooth Setting Powder from Oma Beauty. Usually I would use their colorless shade, which is translucent. I couldn't find it, but I found it. So usually I would use this shade because using this shade, depending on the concealer, sometimes it can deepen it a little bit. But because we do have this like very light situation going on underneath the eyes, I think I'm gonna opt for the light shade because if it does deepen it a little bit, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look good. So just taking a little bit of my setting powder with a large fluffy brush, just shaking off the excess. This will ensure that I'm not applying way too much, and then just setting this in place. Yeah, you see that? It deepened it a little bit, and it doesn't look as white underneath the eyes now. All right, so there we are. It looks pretty nice and light, actually. Looks nice and light. Of course, we're not fully concealed, but this is a medium coverage concealer, and I did build it up, and it did provide a lot more coverage once I built it up. I was hoping for full coverage, but you know, I'm not completely upset that I don't think we got there. Maybe we got close though. So this is a very like high medium coverage concealer. Absolutely. Now let me bring you guys up close and personal so that you can see this after initial application. All right, so here we are, initial application. I think it looks good. Remember, this is the side that we color correct, and this is the side that we did not color correct. And although I do have a color corrector placed underneath the right side, I feel like I'm getting a very similar amount of coverage. So now that the close-up is out of the way, let me jump off camera one last time to finish the rest of my makeup for the day, and I will be right back. All right, I am back, ready to continue on with my day. This, by the way, feels so nice and light, okay? Now that I've set it and I have the rest of my makeup on, it doesn't look off anymore because it was gonna be looking rough there for a while had I just left it looking really bright and gray. But because I was able to tone it down, it looks really nice and it's set beautifully. It's really, really nice and light. It doesn't feel heavy. It conceals really, really nicely. I really like the way that the under eye area turned out today. So we'll do this and we'll check back in about, I don't know, 4 hours or so. It's currently 10:48. You can't see because my child's head is in the way a little bit. 10:48 in the morning. I am going to be wearing this all day long, and of course I'm going to be coming back halfway through the day for a midday checkup under natural lighting, see what the concealer is doing, see whether or not it still feels really nice and light underneath the eyes and all that stuff. So I will see you back here in a few hours for a quick midday check-in. Okay, I'm out and about, and I figured it doesn't get any more like under natural daylight than this, right? So it is currently 2:02. I've had this concealer on now for almost a solid 4 hours, I think. It still feels really, really nice and light, and it is still concealing really well. Here it is up close. This is the side that we color corrected and that I do have kind of like a dry patch underneath. And then this is the side that we did not color correct. So the concealer is still feeling really, really nice and light. It is still concealing really, really well. I haven't noticed it wearing off or breaking up. It doesn't feel heavy whatsoever. It looks really nice in person. I even got a couple compliments while being out here, okay? So I don't know. We'll see how we end the day, but so far so good, at least in my opinion. Anyway, I'll continue to wear this for another 4 to 5 hours to give it a nice full day of wear. So I will see you back here at the end of the day for my final check-in. All right, I'm finally back for my end of day check-in. It is currently 6:38 in the evening. I am ready to wash all of this off, but of course had to come back one last time to show you some more close-ups and to talk to you a little bit about how the concealer wore for me throughout the entire day. So before I get into that, let's go ahead and get you really nice and close so that you can see the under eye area after a full day of wear. All right, so here is the under eye area. As a reminder, this is the side that we color corrected at the beginning of the day. And this is the side with only the concealer. So there you have it. That is the close-up. Overall, I really enjoyed wearing this concealer. I really did. I think that this is going to be a perfect everyday type of a concealer. It is very, very light as far as the way that it feels underneath the eye area. It feels very nice and light. The natural finish I actually really enjoyed. It did settle into my fine lines just a little bit, but once I set it, it stayed in place. It didn't wear off. It didn't break up. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't look heavy. I feel like this is going to be, like I said, just a very good everyday option. The only thing that I will recommend is that you choose a shade that's the closest to your foundation shade. That way you are going to get higher level of coverage, so you may not necessarily get medium or high medium. You may actually be able to get to full if you get a good color match. So make sure that you're looking online as far as like the different swatches that they have on their website, or if you can get into a store that carries Fenty Beauty like a Sephora, then you can definitely swatch them. Make sure that you get a shade that matches your foundation, because I feel that even though this is categorized as a medium buildable coverage concealer, with the right shade, like with your complexion shade or your foundation shade, if you have dark circles, I think would definitely get full coverage out of this. I'm going to go into a Sephora and actually color match myself a bit better. So I am going to get a shade that's a little bit deeper. If you use me as reference, once I do that, I will update you guys down in the comment section. I'll pin just to let you know exactly which one I decided to grab. Overall, I absolutely love the formula. I just need to go in to get perhaps a deeper shade so that I can wear it every day, because you know, a highlighted look I feel is a little bit more glam, and if I get a shade that's closer to my foundation shades, then I think that at that point it could be a perfect like everyday concealer. And who knows, maybe I'll be wearing this to the gym, which I don't necessarily love to do, but since this is supposed to be like sweat proof, long wearing, natural, maybe I'll, you know, apply a little bit before going in next time once I get the right shade. So anyway, overall it's good. It's really good. So that completes today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share, as all of those things are greatly appreciated and they go a long way here on YouTube. They help to support the channel, and I love you guys so much for doing any of those things. Also, don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.